This is Brian of Trifonic, and today I'm going to be talking about the physical modeling synth in Logic called Sculpture. It's one of my favorite tools, so I'll show you what it sounds like and then we'll dig in. What Sculpture does is it models physically models a vibrating string, or you could think of it as a column of air, and you can choose the material that the string is made out of. You have objects that either excite or disturb the string, and that all happens in this section. You've got your pickups, so on here. Then you've got your amplifier envelope, wave shaper, filter, a built-in delay, body EQ here where you can model, acoustic guitar, banjo, that sort of thing, so it models sort of the resonating and EQ characteristics of that instrument. Then you have your amplifier here, your level, and you have a limiter that's built in. And then down at the bottom you have your whole modulation section, including this crazy morph XY chiz triz. One of the sounds I had in this little example here is kind of similar to a sound I had in Parks on Fire. It sort of has a marbly sound, but this one I can have it morph between sort of a flute sound and a marbly sound. So that's kind of marbly and now it's kind of fluty. So the place to start when you decide to explore Sculpture is with this 0000 default patch that's under the tutorial settings, just because it has pretty much everything disabled. So we'll just start with this first object here, and it's set to impulse. That's the thing, that's the method of exciting the string here, and I've got these several different methods. So the first thing I can do, I can move where that object is on the string, where it's exciting it. So if I'm close to one end, it's like if you play guitar and you play close to the bridge, you get a certain sound, whereas if you play closer to the neck, you get a different kind of sound. And here also you have pickups, just like a guitar or electric guitar would have, and so moving those around also makes a difference. Then you can adjust the strength of the object that's exciting the string, and you can adjust its timbre, and you have this variation parameter which for different excitation methods does different things. So there's not enough time to go through all of them, and even if I could, it's still confusing. So you really have to look at the manual to understand what, for each of these, what the timbre and variation and strength parameter, strength is this knob here, what they do, because for each different method here, they do different things. So I want to create some kind of flute sound with maybe I'll add some marbles just to get, we'll get started with something. So I'll choose the blow method of excitation here. And so what strength is going to control is lip clearance, so from the flute or instrument that you're blowing into. Timbre is going to control the blow pressure, so that's how hard you're blowing into the instrument. And variation is going to control the noisiness. So, when there's a lot of noise when you blow into an instrument from your breath, like a flute, and that's part of what makes it sound like it does. So, I like the sound of the object moving. I also like the phasiness of moving the pickups around too. So those are all things later I might want to automate. So you can choose the material here and the characteristics basically of how stiff it is and how it deals with the high frequencies dissipating over time, so it's inner loss. So as I can play a note and drag the material around, so it can be wood or steel or nylon pipe that I'm blowing into, or something in between. You get interesting stuff in between. Resolution has to do with the amount of harmonics that you have in the sound. Media loss is how it deals with high frequency over time. If you have media loss all the way down, it's going to ring out for a long time. If you have media loss, if you raise the amount, it means you're going to get less of it ringing out. Then you have this tension modulation, which is basically the pressure amount affecting the pitch, modulating the pitch a little bit. So that can be useful, but that can also easily get out of control as well. And then with each of these parameters, you can key scale it. So depending on the note number you're playing, C3 being the middle. So if you play above or below, you can adjust how it's going to respond to any of those parameters. And then you can also program how it deals with how those aspects change during the release stage. So I've got this sound here, and I'll run it through the wave shaper. So now it kind of sounds like a bad saxophone from Bad Evening of Karaoke. That's okay, I think we'll be able to fix that. So what I'm going to do to make this stop sounding like a bad saxophone is have another object to either excite or disturb the string. So object 2, I've got a bunch of other choices here, either exciters or disturbers. You can have a sidechain input, so to run audio through it. I'm going to use object 3 just because I've got less choices. I've only got disturbing options, so that disturb the string instead of exciting it. So I'll go with bouncing. Move where object 3 is. Really what's going to make this interesting is having all of these parameters change over time. And really, then also what's going to shape the sound, in addition to these parameters, is this the body EQ, which is its, so if I have it set to like a banjo, or because this is more like a flute type instrument, maybe bass flute. And if I don't want it to totally, I can adjust its characteristics of that. What I'd like to do is use this morph envelope to be able to change the sound quickly and have it follow a certain path. So each of these spots here, the 4 corners in the center, I can program different characteristics, different settings, like in terms of the objects and some of these parameters in terms of inner loss, stiffness, and so on. What I'm going to do is take this setting that I have here and paste it to all of these spots. I'm going to copy current pad position, and I'm going to paste it to all points. So then it's the same in all points here. Now what I can do is I could go to one of these corners here, and I could adjust the settings. Change the material, go to this next corner, change it to more glassy. Anyway, I made some changes, so let's just roll with that. So if I want to record my movements of this here, what I can do is enable my envelope here. So basically I record enable it, and I press a note, and then I'm going to move this around, and it's going to record my path. It shows me the path that I recorded here, and it plays it back for each note. Then I can adjust the depth of that envelope. So you get these very expressive sounds here, and it's tracking this whole motion I did. And then you continue to tweak it basically until you get something that you like. And so that's a little bit of a slight overview of sculpture, and hopefully I'll dig in some more.